Hello, I'm Sarn Chastity from, and I will be giving a persuasive speech on physician-assisted suicide, and now I'll introduce my audience members.
Sarn Church.
Sarn Hutchison. Sergeant Rodriguez.
Corporal Gwynn.
Alright, let me ask you all a question. How many of you have had a friend or family member terminally ill and suffering every day? I have. When I was a little girl, my grandpa was diagnosed with lung cancer. The surgeons decided to take out one of his lungs because they thought it would get all the cancer. Well, it didn't. It spread to his lymph nodes, and he started treatments and made him very sick, weak, made him really skinny, lose his hair. He was suffering every day. So after a while, he refused treatments, and he wanted a way to peacefully end his misery, but there was no such option. And he's still alive to this day, but he doesn't want to see any of his family or friends. He's very withdrawn. He's just waiting to die. He stopped treatments, but he's still living and suffering every day. There are many people like him who just wish there was a safe medical method to end their suffering. There's a right to die. The meaning of individual freedom does not belong in someone else's hands. There are 3 powerful reasons why physician-assisted suicide should be legalized under extreme, restrictive conditions and used as a last resort. The first reason is that people should have the ability to control what they do with their lives. The second reason is that it is more humane to have an alternative to end suffering than them having to endure it. The third reason is if physician-assisted suicide were legalized, it would allow the sick to come forward, allowing their loved ones to be aware of what's going on with them and assist them in getting them the help they need. We will start with the concept that people should have the ability to control what they do with their lives. The first reason is that people should have the ability to control what they do with their lives. Consider someone dear to you. They have a terminal illness or severe impediment, and their life has been taken over by pain and despair. All hope and justifications for their existence have died. If all options have been thoroughly considered, is it fair to make that person suffer? No. This person has the right to make a choice and to end their pain and suffering. The government wants to protect life. However, in the end, these people should have the say-so in deciding when their life has become insufferable adversity. Patients need to consult physicians, lawyers, family members, therapists, and friends to ensure all options have been thoroughly reviewed before resulting to physician-assisted suicide. All human beings have the right to live, and this is possibly the most basic and essential of any of our rights. There comes a choice with every right. It is the same to say that the people that choose to die should be implied to the right to live. Next, let's talk about the horrific idea of being forced to suffer on a daily basis, as well as having the choice to be released from that suffering. The second reason is that it is more humane to have an alternative to end their suffering rather than having to endure it. Life is beautiful, full of happiness, joy, and love. However, there are uncontrollable situations that occur in life which are painful and filled with hopelessness, suffrage, and despair. Of course, people prefer to live. However, in some extreme circumstances, death may be the wish due to their immense pain and agony. Morals that have been impounded in our heads forbids killing, and at the same time encourages us to be merciful. So I ask, when a patient's request is to be put to rest in a peaceful manner, would it not be more merciful and kind to end their pain and suffering than to prolong a saddened and insufferable life? What about those people who are in the last stages of a terminal illness? They have a sickening future ahead of them, such as steady weakening of their body, the failure of their organs, and in some cases having to live on artificial support. In other cases, the sickness gradually destroys their minds and souls. It is more humane that those people be given the choice to end their suffering and die with dignity. The terminally ill patients are given the choice to end their lives by refusing treatments. It is only fair that those who do not have the alternative be allowed to choose death. Death is a kind and compassionate method to relieve insufferable agony. Terminal ill patients are given... now we are moving on to the notion that if physician-assisted suicides were legalized, it would open up the doors to all those individuals considering suicide. The third reason, if physician-assisted suicide were legalized, it would allow the sick to come forward, allowing their loved ones to be known, to be aware, and be able to assist in getting them the help they need. When death becomes more favorable than life, it would be in everyone's interest if it were legal because it would demonstrate mercy. It is through compassion and kindness that we insist on legalizing assisted suicide to those who are enduring unimaginable pain and suffering each and every day. The most powerful argument for physician-assisted suicide is from family members who have seen a loved one in severe pain. The medical realm has advanced drastically in the field of medicine. However, there are many illnesses which they have not yet mastered. These illnesses only prolong the patient's suffering and are forced to endure it. It is truly horrific to watch a loved one in such pain and agony. It should be considered cruel to require such a living situation. After all resources have been thoroughly consulted, the best solution for everyone involved would be to allow that ill person to choose death instead of having to live in insufferable conditions. Suicide is known to be a lonely, desperate act, carried out in secrecy, and is often a cry for help. By legalizing assisted suicide, the process can be brought out into the open. For instance, family and friends could have been oblivious to a loved one's true feelings, and now it's out in the open and they are forced to confront the issue or illness head on. This could do a lot of good for that ill person, even persuading them to get help, and that ending their life is not the answer. In addition, it allows the family and friends to be a part of the process. Patients can be aware of the causes behind their emotions without feeling guilty or reclusive. The patient can talk freely and openly about their feelings. Assisted suicides will occur, legal or not. It would be safer and in the best interest of society to bring it out into the open. Nobody in his or her right frame of mind would allow someone who wishes to be freed from their pain and suffering not to do so. Now that you have been more enlightened about physician-assisted suicide, let us review. There are 3 powerful reasons why physician-assisted suicide should be legalized under extremely restricted conditions and used as a last resort. First, I discussed that people should have the ability to control what they do with their lives. Second, that it is more humane to have an alternative way to end suffering rather than having to endure it. And third, that if physician-assisted suicide were legalized, it would allow the sick to come forward, their friends and family to be made aware, and be able to assist them in getting the help they need. Let me leave you with this final thought. If the roles were reversed and you were the terminally ill patient, would you want to endure the pain and suffering every moment of every day? Or would you want the choice to be able to end your life and suffering in a peaceful manner? That concludes my speech. However, I'm going to list my resources. First one, article called Physician-Assisted Suicide For and Against from www.deathwithdignity.org. Second is an article called Physician-Assisted Suicide and Euthanasia from www.frontiernet.net. Third article, What People Close to Death Say About Euthanasia and Assisted Suicide, a Qualitative Study from the Journal of Medical Ethics and the UMC Library Database. The fourth article, which is called Physician-Assisted Dying, is from the Journal of Palliative Medicine and the UMC Library Database. And the last article reference was called Physician-Assisted Death in the United States. Are the existing last resorts enough? From the Hastings Center report in the UMUC database. Thank you.